Welcome to the NTN Nightly. I'm Nisha Charles. This edition's top stories. Several projects are assessed by the U.S. development institution OPIC for investment. The government of Saint Lucia signs the loan agreement with the Exim Bank for the rehabilitation of roads. A national school safety policy for Saint Lucia is taking shape. All that plus the latest in youth development, sports, and the NTN Nouvelle Arqueo. Development projects described as game changers for Saint Lucia with the focus of an official visit here by a high-level delegation from the Overseas Private Investment Corporation, the United States Government Development Finance Institution. Prime Minister the Honorable Alan Shastney guided the delegation on a tour of the site for the cruise ship terminal in Vieux-Fort, as well as the cul-de-sac port. Janelle Norville reports.
Prime Minister the Honorable Alan Shastney briefed the delegation on a number of projects identified for investment. The Prime Minister explained the first of the projects was the cruise ship terminal in Vieux-Fort that would be in partnership with Carnival Cruise Lines. The government has participated in 2 years of discussions. Feasibility and technical studies have also been completed, and the government has agreed to lease 8 acres of land in the Vieux-Fort area to Carnival Cruise Lines. A new pier will also be constructed with the capacity to hold 2 6,000 passenger vessels. The project is valued at $55 million. Another project is the cargo facility in the cul-de-sac area. Prime Minister Shastney indicated that preliminary studies have been completed and the relevant parties are working on refining the details of the project. The aim, according to the Prime Minister, is to commence construction on the project no later than the end of 2019 in an effort to complete the project within the next 2 years. The last project on the agenda was the North-South Highway, the Prime Minister explained.
And we've broken down that project into 3 parts. So the first part would really be from the Darren Sammy Stadium that everybody knows up north, connecting to Dennery, and that we would also put a major archery connecting that highway through Babineau on the Allen Bousquet Highway. So that would be phase 1. Phase 2 of the project would be from Dennery with a tunnel through the Bardalil, which would then connect a new highway to where we're putting the cargo facility. And phase 3 down the road would be from Dennery to Vieux-Fort. But obviously that's the one that we require the least priority at this point. But certainly the first phase of the project is critical to us because of the traffic congestion we're already experiencing between Castries and Grosley. And the fact is that we don't have the physical space to introduce a proper 4-lane highway.
OPIC's acting president and chief executive officer David Bohegan expressed gratitude to the government and people of St. Lucia for their hospitality. He explained that since the inception of OPIC, it has invested some $3.5 billion into various projects in the Caribbean. For St. Lucia, these included the hospitality and manufacturing sectors. Bohegan added that the entity is looking to do more in the Caribbean, and having visited St. Lucia and been presented with the government's vision, the OPIC has a better idea of what role it can play. The acting president and chief executive officer added that step 2 commences when the delegation returns to Washington.
Well, clearly there's interest from President Trump in trying to invest more in St. Lucia. There's also interest in Congress to be able to do more in the Caribbean. So our next step is going back to Washington tomorrow and helping policymakers understand the environment down here from a strategic standpoint. But I think more importantly is what we can do in the days that follow, which is talking to investors throughout the United States to help them understand the opportunities that you're building here in infrastructure and in tourism and beyond, where we can help empower entire societies. We're particularly proud of our 2X Women's Initiative and any way that we can help women-owned or women-managed or women-supporting businesses is something that we want to do more of. So I think telling the story that the Prime Minister has sketched today is something that we need to do in the investment community and in Washington.
Bohegan re-emphasized the Prime Minister's sentiments that the U.S. regards St. Lucia as a valuable ally and is always looking to strengthen such relationships. For the Government Information Service, I am Janelle Norville.
The government of St. Lucia has signed the first loan agreement with the Export-Import Bank of the Republic of China, Taiwan, for the financing of major development projects here. The Export-Import Bank has agreed to finance the Huronara International Airport redevelopment project and the reconstruction or rehabilitation of secondary roads and collector roads. Prime Minister the Honorable Alan Chastanet on Wednesday affixed his signature to the agreement for the first disbursement of funds, which will go towards the road projects and the housing sector.
We're signing the first loan agreement with Exim Bank today, which will be for $50 million, of which $41 million is going into, $42 million is going into the road reconstruction. $8 million is being divided equally into housing, as well as was into the refurbishment of the schools, which we're going to be continuing again this year with another $10 million EC into both of those initiatives. So,
the Taiwanese-funded road development program, amounting to $42 million over 36 months, is about to commence on strategic 13 roads island-wide, including roads that will link farmers and rural communities with the rest of the island. 140 CMOS farmers are benefiting from a new business link. Export Saint Lucia has facilitated the first shipment of CMOS to the U.S. with rural community of Prale.
Emanating from Export Saint Lucia's recent mission to the United States, it was observed that growing consumer trends around healthy eating has presented an opportunity for dried sea moss from Saint Lucia. The product is in high demand, especially with the increased vegan community. Through the guidance of Export Saint Lucia, the Poale Sea Moss Association has capitalized on the opportunity and has shipped its first export to the United States. Sunita Daniel is the Chief Executive Officer of Export Saint Lucia.
The buyer in the US has already told us that from the time that the CMOS arrived in the US, that all of the packets had already been sold out. So he's very interested in working further with them. We are quite excited to continue working with them. We want to also work along the value chain with them in terms of labeling, proper packaging. We have market access to the US through the various trade agreements that have been signed. However, market penetration has been an issue for us, and this was one of the first ways of penetrating the market. When the consumer now has a taste of this product and knows that they like the product, for us then it's about branding that and getting the CMOS producers up to that level.
President of the Poale CMOS Farmers Association, Bonaventure Jabatis, says the main aim of the association is to reduce poverty in the community of Poale, and he anticipates that with this potential new market for the export of sun-dried CMOS, it would go a long way in helping the association realize its goal.
At one time, almost everybody in the Prale community was, one way or another, engaged in banana producing. But today, with the demise of the banana industry, this has changed, and most people are unemployed. But with this possibility that we now have with CMOS, people will now be able to find an alternative to banana production.
There are 140 farmers involved in the association. The impact is tremendous for them, not only because the price that they are getting is a very good price for a product, an overseas product, but also because it goes directly to the association, it goes directly to them, and we all know the multiplier effects that can have on a very small rural community. Our job really is to ensure that they can get the maximum price for the CMOS, for their product, and also get into other markets.
CMOS farmer and employee of the Poale CMOS Farmers Association, Andrina Stanislas, says she's eager to see the impact of this first shipment and anticipates an upsurge in CMOS farming as well as job creation.
The demand is great, and right now we need as many farmers as we could possibly find in order to supply. Right now we're trying to supply to the US, so the demand is great and we have little farmers. So I would encourage others to get involved, because we all need money and we all actually want more, so we could achieve more, so get on board.
The Poale CMOS Farmers Association is eagerly anticipating the expansion of business with the U.S. and other markets. From the Government Information Service, Lisa Joseph reporting.
Representatives from the Ministry of Health and Wellness were recently granted the opportunity to play a significant part towards developing gender equality in health. More from Fennel Neptune.
Efforts at strengthening national capacities and advancing gender equality in health were undertaken as the Pan American Health Organization (PAHO) hosted a workshop recently. The workshop provided participants with the opportunity to conduct a gender analysis in health and to discuss the development and use of a gender and health profile. Gender and Health Advisor of PAHO, Kafi Kuya, says this activity is important as it will allow participants to develop a work plan to ensure national gender and health profile.
The way the workshop is designed is that we would look at what are some of the pressing issues with regards to achieving gender equality in health as a part of health equity. Second, having the tools to be able to conduct what are the causes, using data and statistics to appreciate differences and disparities in health. And then thirdly, being able to produce a national document to advocate for stronger policies to ensure that everyone has the same opportunity to have good health care.
Biostatistician in the Department of Health and Wellness, Phil Leon, says he's very pleased that the workshop will provide them with the knowledge on how the health sector can use gender analysis tools to effectively reduce health inequalities in Saint Lucia.
It brings to light the disparities between the gender, especially when it comes to our data collection processes and how we move further. What we can appreciate is that we're getting the information and the sense of how there's a difference between sex and gender. Sex being the biology, gender being the roles that are assigned, and how we cater in terms of equality and equity. And what we've been finding is, yes, we have information, we have data, we have been making moves towards interventions, but we've been lacking in that pointed area.
The Pan American Health Organization (PAHO) is hopeful that Saint Lucia will be able to develop a gender and health profile, giving priority to selected health topics within national health priorities. Reporting from the Communications Unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, I am Fennel Neptune.
And this is the NTN Nightly. Ryan O'Brien is up next.
Be aware of and follow water conservation practices. Here are a few tips to help you save water. Wash dishes in a basin of water instead of a running tap. Soak pots and pans instead of letting the water run while scraping them. Check toilets for leaks by putting dye in the tank. If color shows in the bowl without flushing, there is a leak. A leaking toilet can waste thousands of gallons of water. Use a bucket instead of a hose to wash cars and reuse grey water from laundry to water plants. Water conservation reduces energy consumption and strain on the water distribution system. Conserve water whenever possible, and remember, every drop counts. A message brought to you by the Water and Sewage Company Incorporated, WASCO.
Welcome back. We join Ryan O'Brien for the latest happenings in youth development and sports.
Thanks, Misha. Welcome once again to Happenings in Youth Development and Sports on the NTN Nightly News. I'm Ryan O'Brien. School Sports Coordinator Isabel Alexander Markey is anticipating that the Inter-District Primary Schools Female Football Competition will be able to earn its place on the calendar of school sports events. The success of the 2019 tournament has influenced her conclusion that football at this level among females will only serve to develop interest in women's football in St. Lucia.
It's an added sport for the girls to go into. We see a kindled interest in the females going into some of the so-called male-dominated sports. And football is another one of them. And so we're looking to see greater improvements. We're seeing it continuing in the future. And we can only up the standard as the years go by.
The Saint Lucia Football Association is one of the entities involved in the running of the competition, and it also sees it as a crucial factor in strengthening the nursery for emerging talent. The Embassy of the Republic of China, Taiwan presented a new volunteer to the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports on Tuesday morning. Rosalind Lee, 29, will serve the ministry for 1 year as a table tennis coach, replacing William Lien, whose volunteer service ended last year. Lee is now the only female table tennis coach on island and will work alongside head coach Chris Wells and coach Stephen Joseph to advance the sport among locals. Lee has started her stint meeting with junior members of the National Table Tennis Center and coaching at the Ave Maria Girls Primary School. And in that item on table tennis, we come to the end of your update on youth development and sports today.
Thanks, Ryan. A national school safety policy for St. Lucia is taking shape. This week, another consultation was held to hammer out key aspects. The Model Safe Schools program was designed to enhance the capacity of the Ministries of Education in Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines to incorporate and mainstream comprehensive disaster risk management considerations in education sector policies, planning, and operations. The program is being funded by the Caribbean Development Bank and implemented by the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, CIDEMA. Consultants are on island this week to be part of a broad-based stakeholder consultation with members of the National Safe Schools Committee, which include education officers, the police, and the Ministry of Health. The school safety coordinator with the Ministry of Education, Bernays Kodra, says the aim of the consultation will help develop the school safety policy for St. Lucia.
What we are looking to do is to gather the views and the input of many other stakeholders where school safety is concerned. For example, NYC, as it relates to the students' input, as it relates to the school safety policy. We look at the Ministry of Health as we continue to partner with agencies within the Ministry of Health as it relates to environmental health and when we look at various pandemics and so on. So we are looking at partnering with all of those agencies. The Department of Physical Planning, for example, as you look at topographical maps and hazard mapping for our schools. So all of those things, they will be looking to gather information to make our policy more in-depth.
Eleanor Jones is a disaster risk management and sustainable development strategist who has worked throughout the region. Her company, Environmental Solutions Limited, was contracted by CIDEMA to undertake an inspection of schools across the participating islands and to develop the Safe Schools policy.
The Safe Schools policy is going to be looking at how schools prepare for these extreme events, for the extreme vulnerability which they face. In addition to that, so it means that they would be looking at the structures, the extent to which the structures. So we have an engineer on the team who is doing some of those assessments. We have 7 schools in St. Lucia that we're looking at. Then we're looking also at whether there are emergency plans, what you have within the schools for handling emergencies, whether they're health emergencies or natural hazard emergencies. We're looking at the vulnerability. Where are these schools located? Are they by rivers? Are they by mountains, etc.? And also, very importantly, we're looking at the people aspect.
Funding for the implementation of the program is provided by the CDB through a grant of €746,000 under the African, Caribbean, Pacific, European Union, Caribbean Development Bank National Disaster Risk Management in CARIFORM Countries program. And stay with the NTN Nightly. Up next, Primus Hutchinson is here with the NTN Nouvelle en Creole.
The world's climate is changing, and that affects all of us. Storms are becoming increasingly intense. Periods of intense drought and heavy rain stress farm animals and destroy our crops. Higher average ocean temperatures kill our coral reefs and change the migratory patterns of fish. St. Lucia contributes only 0.0015% of global greenhouse gas emissions, but is doing its part, along with countries around the world, to reduce the emissions that are warming our world and changing our climate. These efforts are called mitigation. But decades of emissions have already changed the climate, and the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere today will increase average global temperatures even more. We need to adapt, that is, do everything we can to prepare for and respond to the actual and expected negative effects of climate change, and everyone has a role to play. We need to protect our crops, build homes that withstand storms, and keep our drains and waterways free of garbage to help us recover or bounce back from climatic events. Learn more about the Government of St. Lucia's National Adaptation Plan and the steps you can take to protect yourself and your fellow St. Lucians.
Welcome back. We join Primus Hutchinson for the NTN Nouvelle en Creole.
Monsieur Madame Département qui est responsabilité pour information en gouvernement Saint Lucia, CGIS, à la télévision nationale pays NTN, qui a présenté Nouvelle en Creole, présenté Primus Hutchinson. Il y a une grande délégation de la corporation des investissements privés à pays d'Amérique pour l'autre pays à la terre, à ce pays représentatif de l'institution pour le développement finance à gouvernement. Visiter cette liste mercredi passé le 22 mai. Délégation a été en bas conduite chef officiel exécutif qui aussi j'ai appuyé comme président corporation pour le moment et que yo cette liste pour explorer la façon pour trouver location pour conduire investissement en affaires énergie et l'autre secteur qui est critique. C'est même corporation a visité place que le gouvernement a marqué pour conduire investissement. Ça a été fait et puis Premier ministre honorable Alain Chastanet et même cabinet li avant ces places là visité, c'était Port à Vieux-Fort, aussi à Castries et cul-de-sac. J'ai vu pour Buckeye, ça c'est Goin à Felwil, à cul-de-sac qui était à ta passé, ça c'est Glendon Valles. J'ai commencé à travailler à ce développement cul-de-sac et puis un projet pour improver à ce belté bord de la mer CC1. C'est l'ordre de Valles, il était observé bord de la mer à tenir besoin attention. Alors, lui et puis travailler point initiative là pour conduire un projet nettoyage. Il y a vrai que ça c'était un morceau de travail qui était très raide pour nettoyer tout le bord de la mer et pour établir diverses facilités. Parmi ça qui est déjà établi, c'est une place pour jouer volleyball, un type placement pour jouer football et une place pour cricket. Là aussi, une table et chaise pour les gens qui ont visité pour un petit pique-nique, côté pour observer avec un petit barbecue. Là aussi, une facilité pour éviter. Le projet a commencé en 2017 et fini à l'air pour observer 40e anniversaire cette année. Sur l'autre programme, nous avons porté plein de nouvelles à cette visitation corporation. Division qui est ça pour affaires commerciales enregistrées Consiste cette année, qui est en opération depuis le 19 janvier 1916. J'ai rapporté bon succès. L'audience commerciale, j'ai enregistré une augmentation en numéro qu'a trouvé pour ces 3 années qui passaient, sorti 44 en 2016 pour 100 en 2018. C'est l'opinion de division qui c'est succès ça qu'a gonflé l'économie pays et aussi développement parce que les gens ont plus confiance pour conduire l'investissement parce que le système de justice là opéré plus facilement à présent. Tout ça est possible parce que l'agence de voie que le gouvernement établit, ça c'est Conseil national pour éprouver compétition et production. J'ai implémenté plusieurs réformations en manière ça là qui n'y rangement des disputes à cette ci. Alors, Conseil là a conduit une initiative pour établir un cahier d'audience pour adresser un cas commercial. Directeur Conseil national des éprouvrements, compétition et production, Fiona Hinkson, expliquer des goûts sa tasse cahier d'audience a apporté à un petit moment qui est en opération. Selon Hinkson, il a observé une bonne qualité l'argent déjà défriché, par conséquent des disputes qui trouvaient réglées vêtements. Registration pour un cahier conseil, Sharon Gardner-Hippolyte, qui est responsable pour adresser cas civil, criminel et aussi affaires commerciales. Remarquez qu'avant, la tenue un cahier d'audience pour adresser affaires commerciales. Ça, c'est cas ça la tenue pour rester en ligne et puis l'autre cas qu'on divorce, disputer affaires côtiques, affaires trafic et parmi l'autre. Il y a vrai qu'à présent, c'est cas ça la qu'a trouvé attention bien vitement et que ça a marché très bien pour commune business cette ici. Registre a ajouté aussi que l'on considéré à l'année 2018 la tenue en haut de 100 millions de dollars ici devant cahier d'audience pour faire jugement et qui pour encore trouvé attention pour 3 l'année et qu'à présent il a trouvé devant cahier d'audience pour jugement sur la fête et remarqué que ça a placé en l'eau confiance pour la continuer réclamer devant cahier d'audience. Précisément l'année un officier qui est branché et puis division commerciale là qui a assisté juge là pour délivrer jugement. Selon le registre, tous ces cas bien souvent qu'a recevoir attention entre 14 pour 21 jours et puis jugement entre 3 pour 6 mois. Autorité des affaires touristiques cette lycée, j'ai choisi pour mettre en opération un festin de carême pour cette lycée. Ça fait comme carême là, c'est une place qui est très en demande. Spectacle là, pour en pays Trinidad. Action ça là, qui a continué en l'autre pays carême là. Tout un effort pour agrandir les mots étrangers pour visiter cette liste pour expériencer culture nous. Yon grec en autorité Christopher Gustave avoué que cette liste c'est un joli pays qui n'a pile ça qui naturel et qui available seulement cette liste pour encourager les touristes pour visiter. Mais selon Gustave, la façon pour improver à son activité qui a pris cours les souhaits. Il servi par exemple Wassine dernier segment là, j'ai percé tous ces pays caraïbes là et au Lyon la terre aussi. Alors ça qui a fait présentement c'est pour assurer que les gens visitent cette ici, yo kay ça doucinité koyo. Directeur ban carnival legend Monday Lewis expliqué que ce ban carnival cette ici a fait un pile travail pour improver produire des affaires carnival cette ici. Il déclaré que région j'ai joué un rôle en célébration carnival et produit touristique pays. Gustave dit que région bien engagé dans la célébration après façade nord de l'Amérique. Il annonce que en lot, en ce moment qui a participé dans le carnaval cette ici, qui a sorti Trinidad, Barbade et juste l'Amérique. Côté à pile cette ici qui a visité pour saison carnaval là. Saison carnaval là, en cette ici, qui a ouvert officiellement samedi, le 25 mois de mai, à sous sable là, en la vigie. C'est comme ça, nous avons un bout de nouvelle nous aujourd'hui. Je vous remercie auteur pour garder. Je vous une invitation pour jeudi, puis moi encore, si vous avez leur vie, vous avez présenter l'autre nouvelle à Créole. Après ça, je vais présenter Nisha.
Merci, Opil Primus. And here's a look at what's happening to us weather-wise.
Winds will be blowing from the east near 17 miles per hour or 28 kilometers per hour. Weak unstable conditions in the lower atmosphere may bring some showers over that area during the forecast period. A tropical wave located over the central tropical Atlantic is moving westward near 17 miles per hour or 28 kilometers per hour. The tide for Castries Harbour was low at 1:21 p.m. and will be high again at 7:53 p.m. The tide for Vieux-Fort Bay was low at 2:48 p.m. and will be high again at 9 p.m. The seas slight to moderate with waves 3 to 5 feet or 0.9 to 1.5 meters. The sun will rise Friday at 5:35 a.m.
And that brings us to the end of the NTN Nightly. Join us next time at 7 p.m. with a repeat at 7 a.m. You can also catch up with us anytime on the Saint Lucia Government Facebook page or YouTube channel. I'm Nisha Charles.